he told me, be like a cell membrane. So we know, right? The property of a cell membrane is to filter out what is good for the cell, and whatever is not good for the cell, it intuitively throws it out. It will not let inside. So that, for somebody who is coming out of house for the first time, going to a new city for the first time, that was a tremendous uh, piece to remember. Be like a cell membrane. So that worked very well. And then he also told me one more, Unniya Kandal Ariyanam Urile Panyam. Means, I think everybody understand here.
No.
Acha, Naveenji.
Yeah,
So
please.
you should, the concept is that once the moment you see somebody, you should be able to gauge the crux of that person, right? Okay, it relates back to your sort of or power of attention, where you should be able to understand that person or understand that thing, the core nature, the crux of that person or the thing or whatever, right? So that is the concept he told me then.
Okay, thanks.
So I then my life was in Bangalore after that, and again, just the way I did training, the attention was working very well, is what I suppose. No, not in my academics and all. I was not a great scorer that way, but again, that also happened. I'll come to that. Signature reading and face reading. So you know college life, right? So it's like a lot of interaction. Unlike the schools, there is a lot of time together outside of studies. You have a lot of new groups where you are part of, new connections. So uh, I think it was the attention that was working, because he also used to tell me the mysterious powers of attention. And I know one person from Alandurai, Dharman, who I don't know, many of you would have known him or not. He will just look at you and tell possibly everything about you. So all that was I was inspired by all that. Then I tried imitating that also. I started trying that with my friends. So no harm, right? So we all, it's a common thing to do in college, to read signature, read face, and all that. It used to be so accurate, and I had a lot of afternoon hours. I used to have a lot of people coming, and even friends and their friends coming, and sitting in front of me, and I will read their face or signature. And to be very honest, I didn't know anything about graphology. I just know graphology existed. That's it. But I was doing all these stunts, and it all worked. That is something I want to highlight. Everything worked very,
Hmm.
very well. And whatever I used to say used to be correct, right? So that was the stage I had been. So highlighting all this because I didn't know anything, but still I was being that, and I still don't understand. And training, I still don't do training. I had taken up HR, but I was very clear I will not do training, because the methodology that Sundarji follows is something which I have not been able to gauge. I have done a lot of thinking around it. I have not understood how this works. Even when the person doesn't know, he's able to be that. I don't know that methodology. And that is a wonder. And if I'm not able to do that, I was very clear I will not do training. Otherwise, it's just teaching. So I don't want to do teaching. And I never attempted training in my whole career. And still, I don't understand how that happens. Then so I used to meet him once in a while in Bangalore, but though he stayed very far away, I used to still meet him. And in one of the meeting, he told me about, he literally criticized me for being self-centered. So I was all about, so things are happening, right? And it's everything is becoming easy for me. What I think I'll get, what I want, it'll happen, and there wasn't much effort around it. So I was so much about myself. I was so much self-centered, and he gave me a big dose one day, and that was a wake up call, and I was like, okay. But then I also realized if I start thinking about external, that was also not becoming fruitful. So wherever I could help people, I did, though I wanted to do more, because the kind of uh, wake up call from Sundarji means that is tremendous. It has far reaching effect. The moment I came out, I felt I have to do a lot of things, not just be thinking about myself. But then I had limited opportunity, or people were not that receptive. But at the same time, I had my own ways. I had a lot of time at that point in time for me, for others. So that was something which I started giving. I gave a lot of time to people. Then he clubbed with some of the exercises he did on the art of appreciation. Right? I had one or 2 days I would have spent with him, only um, reflecting on appreciation, giving the right strokes at the right time, and how appreciation is very thinly differentiated from flattering, right? It's a thin line. So to be very, very clear that I'm not flattering anybody, to give that real, genuine appreciation, it requires a lot of focus and attention on that person, on what he or she is doing, or what he or she has said or done, and then giving your strokes around that also requires a lot of energy. Of course, all that signature reading, face reading also needs a lot of energy, and so from somewhere I used to have all so much energy that point in time. Maybe it was my spirit, my intentionality through his dialogues. So I was high on energy. So the art of appreciation, and then my intent to be the locus of focus outside rather than inside. I had a lot of other experiences again. So I also got started, getting people. So I was not a creativity therapist or something, but then I somehow the right questions used to come to my mind when people, because I had a lot of time, people used to come to me, and I used to be staying in a paying guest accommodation, not a typical college hostel. So I had people from different age groups, different life circumstances, and different life experiences, right? So, and I was the youngest. Okay, I was the youngest, and many of them were working, many of them were looking out for job. They were in different situations altogether, and I was the only one having a lot of time, and I could give undivided attention to them. So naturally people will flock around you, they will share with you their problems, and then um, naturally you are trained to be giving that 100% attention, undivided attention. So people started sharing, and to reach to a point where again people, friends, their friends, uh, roommate, their friends, everybody used to come, and I used to be like one agani, and in normal parlance I should say agani aunt, but it used to be a lot of healing for them, because I wasn't flattering. It was those right strokes that I had reflected with Sundarji at one point in time was working here. So that again, created a lot of changes in myself, right? So as a person, I was evolving tremendously, without knowing much about the concepts, but actually being that. And I still wonder how that happened, but it happened. Now, actually, and this all this was going on, and then I realized, yeah. Then I also see I am somebody who doesn't paint at all. I don't know to draw. But then I went and participated in a drawing competition, painting competition. No, on whole of Bangalore University, I became. I mine was selected the top best. Okay, and then
Mm.
I also I was not a scorer. I have never ever been a first rank or second rank holder in my whole life. And in my degree, I was the topper for two of my papers. And the wonder is that both these papers, just before the exam, um, Sundarji, the, these papers had happened back to back. Okay, and both of them I became the topper in Bangalore University. And what I'm trying to highlight here is one dialogue he asked me before the exam: have you established all the linkages? So that was a clue that pushed me to actually establish all the linkages. So it was biochemistry. So all the linkages of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen atoms were actually established, and then that showed results. And who somebody who has never been a topper became a topper. And also to add to it, the previous semester to this, so this happened in the last semester or the one before. The previous to that one semester, I was just pass in chemistry, just pass. If one mark was less, I would have flunked. So that was my stage. And then this one dialogue happened, and this miracle also happened. So this all this he again all these gave me a sense of double, because it's not just me who is doing, something else is also operating. So that was an experience of double, multiple experiences. So this, and then things again. I told things were easy. I got MBA admission. I don't know if you would believe it's like trumpeting myself, but I'm not telling it to show that I'm something, but just to show that these dialogues or these training programs has is creating wonders, and I've experienced. I'm just sharing that. Uh, Math, I attempted only math for my MBA, because MBA was not a deliberate decision, it just happened. And math is something I went and wrote. So I asked Sundarji, what should I do? Should I do a distance MBA or a full time MBA? Then he said, a full time MBA has its own experiences, you go for it. I said, okay. And then I realized there's no consultation and all, right? You just go and then about I was not even aware. So somebody told me math. So I went and wrote math, and I have no preparation, nothing. But something I was very sure is I'll read dictionary every day. Some few pages of dictionary would cover every day. And because I know world is nothing but words. World is made of words. So, and it's all about language. So I just read dictionary, and I went. I don't know if you would believe, I scored 96 percentile whole India. And that was a great experience. So things were happening very easy for me. After that, I got job as per the industry parlance. Everything was going on well. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I was also in a comfort that, anyway, if you approach people for helping, they may not accept it. So that was always a practical issue, which I also found comfort in. That, yeah, if somebody comes, I'll help. And I was kind of aloof from people, because I'm getting what I want. Life is easy for me. What else? And if people want, let them come. So I think somewhere a kind of subtle arrogance was there, which got thoroughly thrashed down some few years back, where what I realized how my body can give up. Uh, so actually, that fuel, his comment of fuel will last for 15 years, actually came true. 2019 onwards, until my admission to GCF, life was as close to hell as it could be. Um, First and foremost, health. Health deteriorated to a point where I thought I'll become paralyzed. So, after having my child, I was bedridden for 3 months. I just couldn't get up from my bed without a help. And this is happening to somebody who is, extra careful about health, who doesn't eat junk, who is very careful, who is also introduced to Ayurveda. So I just couldn't accept that this is happening to me, right? So it was a point where I had innumerable hours of reflection, and actually slowed down. I realized where my spirit is getting dampened. And I also realized I didn't have a right um, intentionality or purpose. I wouldn't call it intentionality, because the concept of intentionality is much more clearer now than it used to be an year back. So I realized I didn't have a purpose, um, a larger purpose, to actually sustain my journey here. Right? So it was becoming very confusing. I again had a lot of doubts. Whatever realizations, whatever clarity of mind or thought, or whatever beliefs I had, many of them were shaken, and I didn't know how to come out. And then you are I was also in a new phase where I'm also responsible for another human being. And then the self doubt cropped up tremendously. I just didn't know what to do. uh, People had I'm sure many of you are parents here, so everybody comes with a piece of advice which was not making sense. So I was in a very bad shape. So, and luckily, admission to GCF happened. I never thought, this will happen, but it happened. And then the journey is again getting stabilized. It's past few months, things are much better than it used to be. So, so this is my learning in the past few months at GCF. Many moments of truth, precisely two moments of truth for me in this many years. And it is particularly because of the multi logs we had in this platform, with not only with Sundarji, the whole setting, the kind of discussions we have with each one of you. All of you have contributed. And as I told you before, it is like a yoga for me. So, what happens when you do yoga vis-a-vis a gym exercise, right? After going to gym, I feel really exhausted. I just want to lie down and sleep for a while. I'm so tired. But after a similar 1 hour yoga, you feel rejuvenated, you feel relaxed, you feel um, much, you feel at ease, right? So that is, if that is for body, these exercises or these interactions has been for the brain and the mind. So actually when you start thinking, when you start thinking freely, that is the most thing happening here. You are free, you can think freely, you can express freely. So that that actually is like, it's like a yogic experience for the brain and the mind. And precisely I had two moments of truth through GCF. Like, it was a moment of truth, I mean, it was just there, but you didn't realize it was so close. It was something which was easy to recognize, but then you didn't realize all these years. You only realized after some conversation or some guided thinking that happened, and then this moment of truth just happened. So the first one was when he asked to make create our own theory of mind, right? So I just, it was a wow moment for me. Like, mind is nothing but body is what I realized all of a sudden. It was a sudden realization. And all through these years, when you look back, it looks so easy to understand. But then I did not understand, right? I only understood it after so many years. And that was like, oh wow. And it was wonderful. I still get that, that experience. If I recollect, it gives me a sense. It is so satisfying. It is so happiness generating. And then in one another session, he spoke about taking out the attention from self. So way back in my school days, also we spoke about this nothingness, being blank, and all that. Maybe the seed was sown then, but again the impact of it, the practical aspect of it came up only now, where I actually can think myself as just a form. I can take away every other attributes of mine. Literally, this exercise I have been trying to do, and I have been doing this from the day he introduced us to that. Take away all the attributes of this entity, and see myself as a just a form, see myself, see that form from, say, 10,000 feet high or to 30,000 feet high, or from a different planet altogether, and then look for this form on Earth, then you will have a different perspective altogether. Um, I can see myself sitting there and, no, what are you doing? This is what I think about myself. What are you doing? You're doing things only for you. What next? So things have been easy for you. You have you have reached to a point where things can happen easily for you. Now what next? What will you do for the rest of your journey? Are you going to be doing the same thing, or am I going to do something which is useful? So this is one constant thought that is running on my mind now, and that is actually guiding me to a purpose. While I have a very broad idea what I should be doing, the method ideas are always there, but method to do that is something I have to devise. That's where a lot of creativity is required, because people or anybody around do not want help directly. So but still, how do you, and influencing them is not easy. Influencing anybody is not easy, and I also feel directly trying to influence is like a power game. I don't want to be that either, but I'm devising. I have not reached there, but I'm devising ways, methods to reach there, where if I can think so much, if I'm taught to think, then I should be able to find a method for this also. This is what I strongly believe, and I think it is possible. So this is where I stand today. Now, I'll also, everybody are also aware that we have reached all these, we have touched upon all these, how these are the concepts that we have been introduced to, or we have been made to think through. So I'll just share my learning also with you. But out of all this learning, this is where I'm today. Okay. So now, how this all happened, I'll just share what I understood, and please highlight if my understanding has any lacune. Please highlight so that I get some clues from you also, and uh, something else will spark. uh, Original mind is something I have not experienced, is what I feel so far. Maybe the double I was feeling was out of it, but I don't know. I still don't know. So I'm not commenting anything on that. But whatever I have really gauged through experiences is what I'm telling here. So I've clearly understood the different orbits of variance that we all are exposed to, and and then one practical solution he has told us to um, try to engage with the immediate orbit and its variance, and whatever changes or whatever value adds that I can do should start from there. So that is something on my mind, and it'll it'll work. That piece of advice, or that piece of, I wouldn't call advice, um, that quote is actually something useful to reach my purpose or create my purpose. That is one thing. And this variance, along with so your power of attention, this variance, you are always, or I'm always exposed to all these variants all the time in different orbits. Now, with my sword of attention and the scale of my attention, of course, my attention versus your attention versus somebody else's attention is quite different, because everything is also dependent on the body. So the speed of attention for you and me may vary. So what we, same things, same variants, but what we register will be totally different. So I can only sharpen my sword of attention through different ways, like reflecting on it, understanding, having more conceptual clarity around things. So all these things are ways to sharpen my sword. So with that attention, sword of attention, combined with the variance, and then all the existing memories, experiences, reference, theories, everything put together, um, I will reach my intentionality. And of course, intentionality will guide me to focus, reflect, make choices, ask that critical questions, and then all these will help me into conceptualizing better, reconceptualize, create new reference, create new theories, and even project myself in different ways than I am today, or whatever. So these are this is, and of course whatever we do, every step of knowing or reflecting or anything has to be firm, correct, and complete, so that becomes the fundamental. And out of so this is for what I have gauged, what I've understood is that this is like a cyclic process, like you're knowing, then these things are happening, theories are getting formed, and then basis that your spirit, your will, your intentionality, everything is happening. But as these things keep happening, some of the invariants are also being created. So I'm yet to probably understand uh, all the invariants of me, right? So when I look back to Ajit Basu's conversation, to have an insight about myself, I think the knowledge of my invariance is something which is very important, and that is something which will lead you to a steadiness. And I think that is what is a sthita prajna. So to a large extent, all of us may have realized our invariants. Even I would have realized, I think I know a couple of them, but I don't think I have understood all of my invariants. And only when I understand all of it, I will know my true nature, my core, and what is my true spirit, or what is my true will. And that will actually lead me to create that one intentionality and that intentionality is going to further guide me to create a purpose. So I'm still not there, but I'm not going to, sit back and wait for that to happen to do anything. I don't want to be in that state of inertia. I'll start doing, and then these things can further evolve. And of course, another thing that we all understood is attention boomerang. Um, this is also something which I have experienced, because we are drawing and paying attention. This how we draw and how we pay attention makes the difference. So clubbed with that idea of taking out all the attention from self, I'm trying to minimize this attention boomerang. Mm, I have I had to go through an attention boomerang some 1 month back also, and it was really difficult for me to come out of it. But yes, I came out. So now I'm very careful to not get into this trap again. So yeah, so pretty much this is what my learning and my journey is through this platform.